Hi, I'm Tricia. Recently, I sat down with my friend Zhenia Nagorny, who is the founder of Believe in Your Sacred. Back in December, I had the pleasure of attending her workshop called Creativity as a Nourishing and Healing Practice. Ever since then, I have been following her work and have been inspired by her passion and devotion to creativity. So I sat down with her and asked her some questions about her healing practice, her Reiki practice, she's a Reiki master, and how her life has changed and transformed since adding creativity as a daily practice. Check it out.
I started my company, which was originally a blog called Believe in Your Sacred, because I wanted to understand my own process through words. And I thought that as a blog, I would be able to not only help myself, but help others. And so this blog grew into additional modalities, Reiki and sound being one of them. And then I just continued writing. And so really words is my biggest reach, I guess. Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful beginning. Right around the time I started my blog, I was moving through a lot of changes in my life. I had ended a job that I did not like, did not feel connected to. I knew there was something else for me. And so when I started this blog and I really started paying attention to what my heart wanted, I started paying attention to what felt good. And writing felt really good. And then I walked into Prospect Park, and I was walking with my daughter, and she loves dogs. So she stopped by this woman who had 2 dogs, and for some reason I asked her, I was thinking about Reiki, and she said, I'm a teacher. I would love to teach you. And a month later, I was certified, and has been an instrumental practice for me, and has really evolved so many things for me, because it started sort of a self-love practice. Mm-hmm. So it starts with I love yous. First thing in the morning, before I even open my eyes, I put my hand on my heart, and as anxieties and thoughts start to come in, I just say I love you, my anxious self, I love you, my worried self, I love you, all those parts. And then I meditate, and I do Reiki, self-Reiki every day. I journal. I really just sit with myself for an hour, in the morning. And then throughout the day, it really shows up in a variety of ways. I'm a mother, so the way I tend to my child, as a role model of love, I have to show her that I'm good to myself. So the way that I talk about myself, the way I talk about my life with her, is an act of self-love. When I cook for us, when I approach food, when I do our creative time, when me and her, we usually come home and we draw, and that's self-love too. When I am tired and I have no patience and I have to just ask for 5 minutes, that's self-love as well for me. So throughout the day, really, it's continuous. Mm-hmm. So beautiful. My father was an exceptionally creative person. It just really dawned on me when I got old enough to really appreciate it. but he passed away in 2001 unexpectedly. And so there were all these moments where he, like, I remember walking in the forest with him, and he would say, like, we'd walk on this path, and he'd say, you know, do you see on the floor? He'd like point to the floor. He'd say, do you see something? And I said, no, I don't see anything. And he would just like lift up a leaf, and there was a mushroom. So there's always these like moments that he shared with us that didn't really click in until he was gone. And really the idea of being an artist and just being creative just really was something that I was really uncomfortable with, because he was such a role model for me that I couldn't possibly like be anywhere near him, so I couldn't call myself that. But with Reiki, with journaling, with sort of tapping into my own inner voice and inner power, I realized that there was this moment when I felt really good around color, around the opportunity to decorate like my apartment. Or there was just these moments that I drew murals in my daughter's room before she was born. There were all these opportunities that felt really good, were scary, but kind of felt really good. And so I just cultivated that little by little, really day by day. And then I looked around, and I didn't really see a community of people who were interested in that. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna just make my own community. And so I invited a handful of sisters, really, who had no artistic background experience, and just I called it Creative Brunch. And it was, you know, I just bought a bunch of supplies, and just, you know, there was like a nourishing food element, so we had like brunch, but really after brunch we could just play, and there was really no borders around what we could make, or there was just so many possibilities. And afterwards, everybody, including myself, were just tapped into something that was just so moving and so really transformative. And so I kept doing that. I kept hosting these brunches, and I just felt more and more sure about this was really what I should be doing, even if I didn't know what it was going to look like later. And throughout the year, I would just, you know, I mean, my daughter is like an extension of my creativity, because she, you know, she just wants to color, and she just wants to draw, and she just wants to do all these things. So it just became part of, like, an instrumental part of just feeling good. And so the workshops that I teach now are just like an extension of this, that I was never really planning, that just grew into this thing that now I can offer to more people, you know. The practice of creativity is really, it's the way I see it, it's a permission to play. And playing, being playful is so underrated, because we're supposed to live this really busy, really productive, really ordinary life, and playfulness introduces something beautiful. Playfulness introduces no answers. Playfulness introduces curiosity and exploration, and really it engages the kid in us, which is, for any healthy adult, I feel like there needs to be a healthy relationship with their inner child. And so the reason why I call my workshop Healing and Nourishing, because there's a healing element to creativity that I know in my own life. I was able to really connect to that playful inner child of mine who was waiting so patiently for me to come and explore, and not give any answers, and not give any more instructions, but just really engage with her. And it didn't have to be with color or with art or anything. It could be with movement. It could be, we have dancing parties in my kitchen with my daughter. It could be as long as you're moving energy in whatever way. It could be singing. It could be dancing. It could be color. I mean, for me, color is, I start with color because when you see color, the frequency vibrates with you in a very special way. So color can really tap into a part of you that's just that just wakes up. And so did I answer your question? I feel like I kind of went a little bit like
I feel like you did.
Yeah.
How creative practices changed your life.
Yeah, but now it's just my default, and it doesn't have to look the same every day. It just is being curious. It's just, the other day I just walked in the park, and when you ride a bike, you move through things fast, but when you walk and you're giving yourself the invitation, the opportunity to stop and just take a deeper look at like the world that is awakening in front of you. That's creativity. It is what you need it to be, but you have to give yourself the permission. Now we would heal. All the children would be celebrated. If adults tapped into their own creative energy, they would connect to themselves, and they would find that they're all that they need, that they don't really need to look outside themselves for inspiration. Because creativity is yours, it's inside you, and it just wants to play with you. Yeah.